Okay, 8th grade placement exam. Read the passage and then fill in the circle to indicate your answer for the questions. Number 1, the words licked there at damp brown grass means the sea was slowly flooding the area, the grass was dead and needed water, the sea water gently reached the meadow, the grass was dead because it had too much water. Number 2, what is the word speckled used? How is the word speckled used in the passage to describe the apple tree? A large number of apples were hanging on the tree. A small number of apples were spread over the tree. The apples in the tree had a disease. The apples in the tree were rotten. Number 3, based on references in the story, what season is it? Winter, spring, summer, fall. Number 4, according to the story, who saw the kitten? Mama and Kirsty, Ellen, Kirsty, Mama, and Anna Marie and Kirsty, Ellen, and Anna Marie. Number 5, why does Ellen laugh? She's happy being so close to the sea. She's confused about the difference between a harbor and the sea. She sees humor in the fact that a harbor was compared to the sea. She's embarrassed because she has not before seen the sea. Number 6, why did Dionada travel north from central Mexico? He was visiting Popeye. He wanted to settle new lands. He was planning a revolt against the Spanish. He wanted to stop the practice of Christianity. Verse 7, why did the Spanish want to convert the Pueblo to Christianity? They thought that the Pueblo religion was incorrect. They thought that the Pueblo wanted to be converted. The Spanish thought they were being kind. They wanted to build presidios. Number 8, why do you think the Pueblo practiced their religion in secret? They feared what would happen if the Spanish found out. Their religion required them to practice in secret. They thought that practicing their religion in secret would protect the Spanish from Popeye. The Spanish wanted them to practice their religion in secret. Number 9, what's the best title for this passage? Native Americans settle new lands. The Spanish try to convert the Pueblo. Popeye attacks the Pueblo. The friars revolt against the Spanish. Number 10, what's the best definition of mission as it's used in this passage? The business with which a group is charged, an operational task usually assigned by a higher headquarters, missionary duty or work, a church settlement. Okay, number 11. Based upon what is stated in the passage, which words might best describe Anne? Knowledgeable and attentive, slothful and uninspiring, erratic and fickle, helpless and bewildered. Number 12. Based on the passage, ipecac is probably a type of food, clothing, medicine, water. Number 13, how did Anne know what to do to treat Minnie May's croup? Anne read a book describing how to cure illnesses in children. Matthew and the doctor gave her detailed instructions. Anne had croup as a child and remembered how she had been cured. Anne helped raise 3 sets of twins, giving her experience in treating croup. Number 14. Which of the following is not an example of how other characters in the story assisted Anne in saving Minnie May's life? Matthew went to Spencervale to fetch the doctor. Mrs. Barry cooked a pot of chicken soup. Mary Jo tended the fire and kept a supply of hot water on hand. Diana helped locate soft flannel cloths. Number 15. By the time the doctor arrived from Spencervale, Anne and the other girls probably felt relief, disgust, frustrated, amused. Verse 16. Which statement is incorrect? The density of an object increases as the mass of that object increases. The density of an object cannot be changed. An object will sink when its weight is greater than that of the buoyant force. An object that is less dense than water will float. Verse 17. Increasing the water level in the flotation tanks of a submarine causes the submarine to dive because the weight of the vessel is greater than that of the buoyant force. If the weight of a submerged object, such as a submarine, is equal to the buoyant force, the object will rise above the surface of the water, decrease in density, increase in mass, remain submerged in the water. Verse 18. According to the text, why does only a small fraction of an iceberg appear above the surface of the water? Ice is only slightly less dense than water. The iceberg would melt if a larger portion of it was exposed to air. The top of the iceberg weighs less than the bottom portion. Water is slightly less dense than ice. Number 19. Which of the following is an example of when a person might have experienced the effects of buoyant force? Flying in an airplane, swimming underwater, freezing water to create ice cubes, boiling an egg. Number 20. Fran's recipe for salad dressing calls for mixing oil and vinegar. She places both ingredients in the bowl and notices that the oil floats on top of the vinegar. What conclusion can Fran draw about oil and vinegar? Vinegar is less dense than oil. Vinegar has a greater density than air. Oil is less dense than vinegar. Oil has a greater density than vinegar. Number 21. What were 3 important results of the American victory at Saratoga? Raised the patriot spirits, convinced Europeans that Americans could win the war, and opened up trading routes to the Caribbean. Opened up trading routes to the Caribbean. France formed an alliance with the United States and ended British threat to New England. Lifted patriot spirits, ended British threat to New England, and convinced Europeans that Americans could win the war. France signed a treaty with America, ended British threat to New England, increased the money available to fight the war. Number 22. How did France aid the patriot cause? France loaned the Americans money to buy arms, food, and uniforms for the soldiers. France provided money and arms to the patriots and fought Britain in Europe. French soldiers fought the British alongside the patriot troops in America. France did not want to help the Americans because they were not sure that the Americans could win the war. 23. The word relentless in the sentence during the American Revolutionary War under relentless British pursuit means unending and intense, constantly moving, extremely well planned, without focus. Pick the best title for this passage. The Patriot Cause, Saratoga, a turning point, British alliance with France, a treaty with France. Number 25. What could have happened if the Americans had lost the Battle of Saratoga? America might have become part of France. The British might have won the American Revolutionary War. The British might have left New England. The Americans might have convinced the Europeans to support them. Number 26. What is the meaning of the word pensive in line 20? Deeply thoughtful, confused, extremely joyful, sad. Number 27. Line 1 is an example of a metaphor, rhyme scheme, a simile, alliteration. Number 28. What is the meaning of inward eye in line 21? A camera lens, personal memory, the lens of the eye, feelings. Number 29. Which line is an example of personification? 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. What wealth the show to me had brought, and then my heart was pleasure fills. Number 30. Which statement best describes the message of the poem? Daffodils are beautiful and admired by many people. Flowers dance in the spring breezes. It can be lonely among a field of flowers. Upon reflection, the beauty of the daffodils brings happiness.